Firescape Academy Inspector Training. We're here in Chicago, Illinois, 226 South Wabash, the back. And we're looking at Firescapes to train on what to look for when you're writing violations. As you can see on this one, the first thing we notice is that this whole thing is bent and twisted, probably from previous truck hits, and that it wasn't properly repaired. The wall wasn't properly attached with the pivot arm. It's tilting down. This weight box is ready to drop. It's twisted. We have another Firescape back here, similar situation. But on this one, as you can see, it has its own independent chain that goes towards a support. Support being broken and that chain improperly attached. Look how it's whacking the rail out of alignment. And the cantilever is twisted out to the left. So it's probably 2 to 3 feet out of whack. So this is either from a truck hit or some activity. The second thing we're looking for on this Firescape is evidence of maintenance. First of all, it needs a paint job as required every 3 years. No paint on this Firescape that we can see. As you can see, this platform is pulled away and separating. So there's been some welding repairs here, but nothing that you can see was a major repair that was done professionally. We're looking for evidence of the square head bolts not being done. On this one, you can see all the original supports, support posts, rail posts, and treads are all original hardware. So this hasn't been done in 50 to 75 years. And the rail and the support back there with that weight box is definitely smashing the rail section on there. But again, that is a proper chain to its own independent support, which most of these Firescapes do not have. So let's go down a little bit more. So this Firescape is definitely unstable at this lower platform from truck hits. Let's take a look at this one, which is up higher. Looking to do if it's been painted in the past 3 years. The answer is no. So it needs a paint job. It's required every 3 years. The chain, look at the chain just grabbing that support right there. That's an improper chain compared to the one next to it, which has the chain going to its own independent support. So that corner there of the bracket, that corner of the staircase was never made to hold this. Now, aside from not having a paint job, we got a severe truck damage hit that happened down here that they Mickey Mouse the support repair. And look at this mess over here. This is nothing but some brackets, some bars, some rebar extension, because it actually pulled away so far and it never got put back. So this is actually a life safety issue because this thing was never properly repaired, and the cantilever is pointing up much higher than horizontal, so actually a truck can actually come and clip this. But again, the chain cannot go back to the where it is right now because it's going to be pulling off. Now look at it's all a riveted Firescape, so this is more than 50 to 75 years old. And take a look at the joint connections at every stringer. They're all blown out full of rust. Original hardware everywhere all the way to the top. This Firescape, aside from having a light safety issue on the cantilever, this Firescape is in very bad condition. Needs a paint job and major structural with a life safety issue due to the cantilever. Let's take a look at this last one here. This is a 20-story building plus minus. Let's take a look at this cantilever and let's see if it's properly going to come down without hitting. Yep, it should clear. But here's the biggest issue. Always these trash. It cannot come down right now because they haven't put a bollard here or something that stops people from putting the trash in an area where the cantilever can come down. So now, if you were to evacuate this building, you couldn't because you'd basically be landing on the trash barrels here. So, let's look for evidence of paint. Looks like it's been painted. Let's look for evidence of maintenance, which is hex head bolts throughout the Firescape. Looks like the treads are all original square heads. Looks like the supports that hold the platforms are square heads. No evidence of maintenance there. No reinforcement of any kind. I've got the pivot with a chain wrapped over there. I don't understand what that's going on, but the platform and the pivot are sort of married together. I'm looking for cement issues in the wall. It looks like I don't see too many. This weight box is actually tying back to a bracket, and it doesn't have its own independent bracket, so you can imagine the amount of steel here. It'll tear that down. The mistake they also make is sometimes they tie it back to the stringer of the staircase. On the entire stringer, no evidence of maintenance. I don't got no new bolts on that. that would show that at least the staircase has been done. It's not. Support posts, supports, brackets, they all are showing original 50 to 75-year-old square head bolts on this fire escape, but it looks like they probably have been doing a paint job in the past every 3 years, every 3 to 5 years or so. So this fire escape has structural issues. The cantilever won't come down all the way to the ground. And again, this is probably it has the Arby's here on the corner. Pazos is across the street from DePaul University. So this is an alleyway walkthrough. And we're going to do the last couple of ones right down here to basically see what is the common issue on all these fire escapes going down an alleyway. As you can see, we got to cross the street. Let's take a look at this one right here on the corner with the white. Must be structure style, must be kept painted. So looks like DePaul University painted this fire escape here. But now let's see, and this happens a lot of times. They'll paint, but they won't fix it. Let's see if that's the case here. We're looking for evidence of maintenance. And a white fire escape will start showing all the rust. There used to be rust between the string. It looks like they cleaned it out. Let's look on the treads, see if there's any evidence that they've repaired the treads. I'm trying to look this from down here. You can look up this white fire escape and see that the treads still have rust inside the connection. So a lot of times it wasn't cleaned. This stiffener angle here has the original square head bolts, and you can see the rust still inside. It's starting to rusty tear coming down. The chain is incorrect. Look where they put the chain. They put the chain on the pivot on that cast. If that chain hits at the right way, it's going to snap that pivot right there in this whole cantilever. So this is actually a life safety issue. And this fire escape, if you look up, you see nothing but square head bolts on the fire escape posts, on the fire escape supports. And let's see what it looks like going into the walls. There's some evidence that not all the supports into the walls are sealed. But alone, again, the fire escape was painted, but repair was not looked at. And this cantilever is supposed to drop at 2 to 3 feet per second. And if you have students coming down, they're supposed to touch the first or second step. It's supposed to drop 2 to 3 feet per second and hit the ground and not go back up. Or put a release arm up there because you have 25 more pounds on the nose. And once you release it from up there, it drops 2 to 3 feet per second, hits the ground and stays down. Right now, the students got to walk out 5 to 8 steps, activate it, hold on, hits the ground, they get off, and then it goes right back up. And hopefully, while it goes up several times during an emergency evacuation of this building, it doesn't break that knuckle over there on the where the chain is tied back up into the pivot. So once that pivot support is gone, and it's a massive one, this whole pivot is going to let go. This entire staircase falls to the ground. So nice painted fire escape, but it's got structural flaws on this particular fire escape. And the last one that we're going to be dealing with is this fire escape right here. And again, it goes up 20 floors, let's say. Let's see if it's been kept painted as required. Looks like they've been throwing paint. So the next thing you got to look for is you got to look for evidence of maintenance on the treads. Looks like the original treads are still on there, some rust inside the connections. Look at the supports, look at the weight, look for a chain on the weight. There's no chain on this one. So that means it's probably one of those that is perfectly balanced. So as you can see, chains are not always required because once you step out 2 to 3 steps, it activates, comes down, hits the ground and stays down. We're looking up. All the treads have rivets on them, so they're all original hardware on this fire escape. It has been painted, so they've been painting, but all the supports, all the rail posts, no evidence of new maintenance. Original, they just painted over everything, even if it was rusty or not. We got cement into the wall. Cements looks like they're not all sealed. There's a couple of them that are exposed. Let's take a look at this weight box. Let's take a look at this weight box, see what it's doing. It looks like it's twisting out a little bit. A lot of times that's metal fatigue. That's actually a kink. There's a kink in the C-channel there. As you can see, it bent right there, probably from a hit of some kind. But let's look up this whole fire escape to see if there's any evidence of maintenance from the side. I can't see any. So a lot of times they'll get a violation that says scrape and paint, and they'll do just that. They'll scrape it and paint it. But in order for all these fire escapes, which are 50 to 75 years old or greater, to pass a load test, there has to be some maintenance done. And as you can see in this entire fire escape and all this entire walk through this alleyway, I don't see any fire escape that has had maintenance as a major factor. A lot of it is a small repair here, a small repair there, and the rest of the entire fire escape, not into the, the repairs into the wall have not been reinforced or verified. The treads are all original hardware, the supports are all original hardware, and the rail posts are all original hardware. Any and all those can fail at any time, and somebody's going to get hurt on this fire escape. If you have any questions on this or any other inspection or video that you've seen at Fire Escape Academy, Inspector Meneses here. Give me a call at 800-649-3333. We do offer training classes for fire departments, building departments, and housing inspectors nationwide. And in some cases, continuing education credits are available. Give us a call, 800-649-3333.